How's it going, Jack Tackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today, I'm going to be doing my review for Fear the Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 3, which was titled Odessa. And overall, I gotta say, I wasn't a huge fan of this episode, weirdly enough. I found it to be quite uninteresting and goofy, if we're being completely honest. Which is strange, because from the very little feedback I've seen on this episode online, it appears as though most people enjoyed it for the most part. And I definitely didn't hate it or anything, but I just didn't like it either. But I will say, though, it was really cool to see Daniel again and where he's been all these years. Apparently, he's like the leader of this group of parents that want to take down Padre and get their kids back. And that was pretty neat, I gotta be honest. And Daniel's got like a shaved head now, drinking mate like a badass. And I was pretty stoked to see his reunion with Madison, too. I mean, these characters have a lot of history, and I don't think they've been in a scene together for a long time. So yeah, it was just really nice to see them reconnect a little bit. And yeah, that was without a doubt the highlight of the episode for me. However, I gotta be honest, my main issue with this episode is that the Padre reveal just felt so underwhelming and silly, if that makes any sense. Like, throughout the whole episode, we see flashbacks to 12 years ago, the beginning of the apocalypse, which basically confirms that, well, all of this has been going on for that long, which is kind of crazy to think about. And basically, we see the very early formation of Padre with Shrike and her brother and her dad. And we learn that Shrike's real name is actually Sam, and how Padre kind of, sort of started off. But once Shrike and her brother Ben, or I guess Crane, lose their dad to walkers, their morals start to change a little bit, and the idea of Padre starts to change and shift. And basically, they decide they want to take in kids so they will never have to go through the pain of losing a parent. And I don't know. I just didn't really feel like that was a strong enough motivation for taking these children into Padre. Seems very goofy and over the top, if you ask me. It also just seems very extreme. And toward the end of this episode, they do this big reveal where we find out the voice of Padre is actually not Shrike's father, even though the whole episode we think it is. But it turns out it's her brother Ben, or Crane. And I just thought it was kind of unnecessary to have this kind of a twist. It felt like they just wanted us to be shocked. And I never felt shocked or anything when watching this episode. And I guess there is this plot with one of the children named Dove, who kind of wants to leave Padre to have a family, and she's starting to doubt Padre a little bit. But then she finds out that Madison basically got her mother killed, and her mother was Ava from the season 7 finale. And yeah, Dove turns on Madison, and decides to end up sticking with Padre. So now I guess Madison feels pretty bad about all that, understandably so. And one thing I did like about the episode, though, was the kind of storyline with Finch and his character. I mean, he was only in one scene, but obviously he got bit in the last episode, which was a crazy shock. And it's apparently been a week since he got bit, and now he seems perfectly fine, which is just absolutely insane, to be honest. I mean, this is basically confirmation that Padre truly has cooked up a cure of some kind. And this is a really big deal. So I will say I'm very interested to see where that whole plot line goes. Because, yeah, if there's really a cure that is very major for this universe, and that they could do many interesting things with that. But, who knows, maybe Finch will end up starting to feel sick, and maybe this is only a temporary cure, and maybe they're not going to be able to mass produce it, or who knows what's going to happen. And, we'll never know until we watch the remainder of these episodes. But, yeah, it looks like everyone's still going to kind of, try and take down Padre. And we see at the end of this episode that Shrike actually has a bunch of walkers at her disposal. So that's going to be probably come into play later in this season. That definitely worries me a little bit, because I'm sure she'll be using that to her advantage. And Padre is still at the top, so to speak. They're still very much a threat. And I don't know about this whole Padre thing. I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't. Them as antagonists, they don't really intrigue me that much. I guess we did get to learn about the bird names in this episode, but they kind of just, I feel like Shrike and Crane's father would be very disappointed in them. You know what I mean? So I don't think they really take into account what their father would think about the situation. I mean, I guess he's dead, so they don't really care. But yeah, I feel like he'd be pretty disappointed by what they're doing. just taking kids and from their families. It's pretty messed up. It's still a messed up thing to do, but I don't know. Was this episode trying to make us sympathize with Shrike a little bit more? Because it didn't really work for me, if we're being honest. Or maybe it wasn't trying to make us sympathize with her a little bit. And I think it was just trying to explain her morality a little bit more and her, I guess, viewpoint. But I still think they're obvious villains, Shrike and Crane and all them. I don't think they're really good people at the end of the day. So that's just my opinion, though. But I do think this season so far has been kind of meh, and we're already 3 episodes in, so I do hope things ramp up. And it looks like next week's episode will be pretty great, I will say. All the stuff with Morgan going back to King County, that'll be pretty awesome, I got to admit. But yeah, that's really all I got to say about it. I don't exactly know how Padre is going to be taken out, but they need to, our heroes, so to speak, need to put together an army to stop these people. I mean, we know we have that group with Daniel, but I don't think that is really going to be enough. And we saw in this episode that wasn't really enough. But yeah, I'm excited to see more of his character for sure, because this was the first episode he's been in this season so far. So that was really awesome. And yeah, I'm loving Madison. I do like her character this season. That's one thing I will mention. It's great to see her in every episode so far. And I do, for the most part, like what she's been doing. So yeah, I mean, that's cool for sure. But yeah, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on the episode? What do you guys have to say about it down below? Did you like it? I feel like, I guess most people did, but I didn't love it, really. I didn't hate it either. I feel like I've said that literally for every episode of this season so far, but whatever. I don't know. It feels not aimless, but I need to see where this goes before I have like a stronger opinion on the season, if that makes any sense. But yeah, post your thoughts and comments down below. What are your guys' thoughts on this cure especially? I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the cure, because that's very, very surprising. And it does seem like Finch is actually going to be okay. Although I hope it doesn't end badly. I mean, of course, he's Dwight and Sherry's kid, so I hope he doesn't die or anything. But yeah, post your thoughts and comments down below. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Check out my letterboxd and Twitter down in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.